And we're back, and we're going to do something that's very scary to all of us, and that is open up the cranium of my main man, Greg Jennings, and see what's inside the mind of Greg Jennings. So, Gregor, after Super Bowl 57 and the Kansas City Chiefs win 38-35, and Patrick Mahomes winning a second MVP, let's go in order. What is the first thing inside that dome of yours?
Well, the Eagles' defense.
Embarrassing, right? I'm with you. 31 points they gave up.
They let their team down. 24 points they gave up in the second half to Patrick Mahomes and that offense all year long. Like, we knew the offense and what they were. Run-first offense. Jalen Hurts scored. They can score when they first get the possession. But that defense, get after the quarterback, don't give up a ton of points. And you look at the numbers right there. 18 points a game, under 19 points a game, and last night they gave up 38. Look at the yards, though. This is the thing that gets you. And then third down, the fact that they were 50%, the Kansas City Chiefs, on third down, it hurt them. They could not get off the field when they needed to get off the field. They couldn't get pressure on the quarterback. All these things are what made this defense special. But more importantly for me, I was just dumbfounded at the fact that they could not get one stop.
They didn't.
In that second half to give their offense a chance. And Kansas City Chiefs defense did that. They got them that one stop.
Right.
And they all season long you've answered the call.
Well, perhaps if I may make a suggestion here, Your Honor, if I might add this to the conversation of the craziness inside your brain. Maybe those numbers were inflated because they didn't play anybody, as I've been saying this entire season. Maybe when you play an all-world quarterback, who, even though we didn't have a great statistical game, you have the type of game we had yesterday. This was not Davis Webb, trying to lead the Houston Texans down the field to beat you, right? This was not Matt Ryan and the Colts. This wasn't even the great Daniel Jones and the Giants, right? This is a guy that's different, an offense that's different. Maybe what we saw last night was the real Eagle defense when matched up against a very good offense, just perhaps.
Well, I mean, when we look at this defense, I'm not going to say that they were terrible, but they let their team down because they didn't get stops when stops was needed. And this is how you look at football games, or just games in general. When you're on the field and you have to deliver in the biggest moment, you got to do that. You have to. Their stars are all across that roster. None probably even more on offense than they have on defense. And none of them, not one guy was able to step up and make a play.
Not just that. You know who had a terrible game last night on the Eagles defense? And I love him as a player. Darius Slay was terrible last night. Yeah. He got abused on the Tony touchdown. He did not make the type of plays he normally makes because he's a game breaker type.
I didn't think he was terrible.
That's what we discussed before, was it not?
No, I mean, on that play, yes, he gets beat because he's trying to pass it off, and he takes his eyes off Kadarius Toney.
Right.
And so he gets beat. Things like that happen.
Inside the mind of Greg Jennings we go. Let me bring up one I'd love to hear how you're processing. Yeah. The comparison between Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I thought Jalen Hurts outplayed Patrick Mahomes. Now, obviously, Patrick Mahomes is your MVP, Super Bowl MVP. He played outstanding, not taking a shot at Patrick Mahomes whatsoever. Jalen Hurts played the game of his life. We heard it from his coach. We saw it with our own eyes. You try to make fun of him because of the Hail Mary or the lack thereof.
Hail Mary. It was a screen pass.
But there were some throws in this game that he made. The first throw, his only touchdown pass that he made to A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, he just put it up for his guys to make a play. And maybe that is the case, but those are plays that his receivers have been able to make, and he did that. You see it right here. He puts it up. This throw right here is arguably it's better than the Hail Mary throw.
What's amazing is that, that's about the distance he can throw, about 50 yards.
Yeah.
Now, most NFL quarterbacks are in the 65 to 70 range.
Absolutely.
But what we learned, listen, it's a great throw. It's horrendous defense there.
It is.
By the safety for Kansas City. But he throws the ball from a 47, and it goes about 50 yards.
Yeah.
On the Hail Mary at the end of the game,
it goes about 50
yards. He throws
yards.
it from his own 30. It goes about 50 yards, which tells you not that he's going to throw the ball 80 yards. Very few guys can. That his shoulder wasn't right, and that was not invented. It's not made up, because the Hail Mary is a joke. It's an embarrassment. And by the way, listen, they're not going to win the game, but if you're the coach and you know that your quarterback can only throw a ball 50 yards, why you do it? I mean, throw something else, right? Try something, hook and ladder, flea flicker, whatever it is.
Yeah, that was my thought. And then he had a couple other plays in this game. Obviously, we saw what he was able to do with his legs, but there was a throw, and I know we all watched it, to Dallas Goedert in that game.
The one with the linebackers right on from behind.
At this. Look at this throw. And it's the accuracy, but just the mindset to even make that throw. Yeah. Like, let's just call it what it is. None of us thought Jalen Hurts or looked at Jalen Hurts or look at Jalen Hurts as a pocket passing, dart throwing quarterback.
Right.
He has been that all season long.
It's a great throw. It's an even better catch.
Yes.
Because I thought he's out of bounds. I thought he bobbled it. And then you could see he did kind of drag the toe. But the first 5 replays, I'm like, he didn't have possession.
Yeah.
And then you finally got a video where that looked like that toe was on the ground. And give the refs credit, they got that call right. Also, it's a great catch by Goddard.
It's a great catch.
Goddard had a good game.
It's a great catch, great throw. He ran for 70 yards, 3 touchdowns. There was nothing outside of the fumble.
Which is a big play because it's 7 points.
Huge. But his ability to even bounce back, the poise that he showed to just let that roll off his sleeve and continue to play and progress in that game, I loved everything that I saw out of Jalen Hurts, and in my opinion, he outdid.
He also had an octopus last night, not the kind you grill and eat at Mediterranean restaurants, but he scored a touchdown running the ball, and then he also ran in for the 2-point conversion.
The next thing, when you watch this game, if you didn't take this away, I don't know what you were watching, but Andy Reid, he always had an option or an outlet for Patrick Mahomes, understanding what they were up against. Now, I talked about the defense and the lack of pressure that they were able to get. They weren't able to get after Patrick Mahomes, but large part because of that offensive line and what they did schematically. Every time they brought pressure, we mentioned this.
Yeah.
We literally mentioned, okay, they're going to bring pressure, so how do you counter pressure?
Dump it over.
You dump it right over them. You allow a running back to release. You get a tight end out. You get one of your skilled guys out and get the ball in their hands super quick. And then you find this guy. This is just what you do. You find a guy like Travis Kelce. This play right here, it was super impressive to me because it's just indicative of who Travis Kelce is. You allow him to just be a route runner. Everything about what he does is always patient. It's under control. He's running an over route, or he's selling the fact that he's running the over route, and he just finds a way to get behind the defenders, and they lose sight of him, and he just finds a void.
How about the play? Greg also made a point where I guess there's a safety comes up, and he's showing how Mahomes has to read the safety. And because the safety came up a step or 2 into the hole, it was a RPO.
Yeah.
He doesn't hand it off and set a quick slant to JuJu.
Yeah.
And that's like PhD level football for guys like us.
Yeah, most quarterbacks aren't going to even make that throw or make that read. But the fact that he understands, I got an easy 5, 6, 7 yards right here, let me just take that.
Yeah.
That's the Patrick Mahomes type of deals that we saw all afternoon. And Andy Reid, again, giving him and entrusting him with the ability to make those reads, to adjust, to put him in positions where, look, we know what you can do with your legs, but trust your guys. And he sat down, Patrick Mahomes did, before this game, and he talked about the 2 previous Super Bowls and him putting it and trying to shoulder it all on himself. He said, I trust my team.
Yep.
And that's what he did this game.
Let me give you one more. Inside the mind of Greg Jennings, obviously the play that everyone's talking about, was it a good call? Was it not a good call? Should the call have been made? You know my feeling on it. If it's a foul, it's a foul. Shouldn't matter first quarter or a minute 50 to go at the end of the Super Bowl. Holding, not holding. As you watched it last night, forget about what you think today. I just wonder in the moment, what was going on inside your mind on that holding
In the
call?
moment, I'm like, you don't make that call.
Got it.
Because of the depth of the route. Like, he's behind the line of scrimmage. And if this were, and again, the nuances of the game are just, there's so many ways where refs are impacted by where the ball is. And the fact that it's out in the field and they're the only two over there, it's like, oh, well, it's too obvious. Got to make the call. But if this is on the goal line and it's a scrum, you run inside and you release back out, 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10, this never even gets called. Why? Because it's the goal line. He's behind.
And there's a lot
the line
of other stuff going on.
There's a lot of scrummage going on. You got to navigate the bodies, and you just don't call it. But because it was out, and my gripe is it's behind the line of scrimmage. Like, you show me plays where you're going to get, there's naked boots, there's guys that come behind the line of scrimmage and try to release and get held all the time, and it barely ever gets called. Why? Because it's happening behind the line of scrimmage.
Hey there, thank you so much for watching The Carton Show. You can subscribe right here to get all the latest bits and segments from the show. And by the way, while you're at it, we have a lot of great shows on FS1, so check them out too.